UPSC Mains preparation does not reward you for just preparation, just reading. ठीक है, it rewards you for your final performance. You know, writing itself is preparation. ठीक है, writing is preparation itself. You discover gaps only when you start writing. Many aspirants basically overcomplicate their preparation. ठीक है, your job is just to keep it very, very simple. Just attend the classes, attend these sessions, come to these sessions, write your answers. You feel confident, send me your answers. Every serious aspirant, every one of the toppers that we've had in the past year, the year before, and so on, they experience these phases without a doubt. If they have faced it and they are your seniors, ठीक है, मतलब you know, you're also going to face it. The goal is basically not to avoid them. The goal is basically to continue despite them. Optional mein, I will teach you how to score well. The number of students that I have who have scored more than 280 plus last year from just the first mains K attempt is much higher. Don't cut down writing of your answer. I will show you the questions, you take a look at the questions and you write the answer to these questions. There are a few things that you want to keep in mind, especially when it comes to these 75 to 80 days. First thing is, don't worry about the final day. You think about what are the karma kind of things that you've got to do. What are your to-do kind of lists. Welcome to QEP Plus. So this is basically another or a different phase of your preparation. ठीक है? You know, just now your prelims just got over and now you are essentially moving into mains. See, ये 75 to 80 days जो है, it is a different kind of a phase, right? You know, pre-prelims, I'm assuming that if you've not written mains before, ठीक है, you don't know what exactly those 75 to 80 days feels like. So I'm speaking to all of you assuming that, you know, you've not written mains before. Those of you who have written mains, you probably know it. So if you have not, you know, been in the 75 to 80 days, you're in a different phase. That phase is going to be more about, you know, your attending of classes. It is going to be of reading of books, you know, collecting of notes. And I think one thing that is very, very popular in today's time period is, you know, a lot of PDFs, a whole collection of PDFs, and possibly one reading of those PDFs, highlighting of those PDFs, watching some lectures, watching this. See, you know what? All of these things are important for sure, okay? Meaning this is like the base work. I'm assuming that, you know, this is your way of completing your syllabus. But let me tell you something honestly. UPSC mains preparation does not reward you for, you know, just preparation, just reading. It rewards you for your final performance. Okay? So what do I mean by the final performance? The final performance essentially means that 75 to 80 days from now, what exactly is going to be on your paper. So that is the main idea here. Even in yesterday's session that I had, and it's up on YouTube, you can take a look at it. And if possible, I'll try to show you that, you know, in your, I'll ask them to put it as your first class. Okay? In that thing, one of the things that we had actually mentioned is, you know, when you're preparing for your mains, you know, there are a few things that you want to keep in mind, especially when it comes to these 75 to 80 days. First thing is, don't worry about the final day. You think about what are the karma kind of things that you've got to do. What are your to-do kind of lists that you've got to be able to do. Okay, so you have 2.5 months. You know, the focus has to be very, very simple. Okay, it is, you know, you have the knowledge, but can you write better answers? Okay, you have, you know, some kind of an experience in handling this particular kind of a question, but if they change, you know, how the question looks, okay, are you still able to show your thinking by tweaking what you have already written before, you know, meaning addressing the demand of the question. Okay, overall, you know, in these 50 pages, okay, in these 50 pages, will you be able to sort of make it, you know, a better execution in comparison to anybody else, any of your competitors? Okay, these things become kind of important. Right? So UPSC mein, by the time it is 75 to 80 days, before you go into your optional ka paper, I'm not even sure about the other options, okay? But Anthro optionals is one of those things jahan pe almost everybody knows the syllabus. Okay? Everybody knows syllabus, matlab wo pad chuke hain. Somehow, even in those 4.5 days, they would have managed to sort of cram whatever they need and they go to the exam. Okay? But scores aise honge, some really, really good students, you know, who've scored, you know, 420 plus, 425 plus in GS. Okay? They've scored 170, 180, 190 in their option. Okay, so what just went wrong? If you are able to know your entire anthropology, okay, how on earth can the score be 170, 180? And this is not only anthro, okay, this is every option. Okay, that includes your mathematics option, that includes your language wale options and so on. Okay, optional mein, the first thing that I want you to understand is the overall look of your paper matters. Okay, anthro overall agar aap dekhoge, it's a very vast universe. Okay, but UPSC anthro is relatively smaller. Okay, there are so many social institutions. Aapke paas kitne hain syllabus mein? Very, very few. ठीक है, एंड दोज वेरी फ्यू ऑल्सो 5-6 ही सब टॉपिक्स हैं, मैरिज, फैमिली, किनशिप, इकोनॉमिक इंस्टीट्यूशंस, पॉलिटिकल इंस्टीट्यूशंस और रिलीजियस इंस्टीट्यूशन, एंड ईच ऑफ दोज में कितने हैं, ठीक है, नन ऑफ देम इवन हैव लाइक सम 10 टॉपिक्स अंडरनीथ दोस, ठीक है, द सिलेबस. सो एंथ्रो इज अ वेरी वास्ट थिंग, एनीथिंग एंड एवरीथिंग टू डील विथ, dealing with humans, but anthropology for UPSC is a very small subset of actual anthropology. Okay, so as I told you, right, if you look at human evolution, for example, right, human evolution में इतने सारे हैं, Sahelanthropus, Ororhyntogenensis, okay, Ardipithecus itself we don't do, Homo habilis we don't do it, ठीक है, हमारे syllabus में you have, what do you have? ठीक है, you have some Australopithecines that you should know, you have some Homo में you have only Erectus and you have Heidelberg, ठीक है, and उसमें एक Rhodesian man है, and Rhodesian man तो today it is reclassified, and then you have some early humans, Cro-Magnon, Grimaldi, Chancellier, just like this one, anatomically modern humans and so on, Neanderthal मान लो, you get the picture, right? So overall human evolution and the hominins अगर आप देखोगे, it is a much vast, it's a vast universe. ठीक है, बट हमारे सिलेबस में इट इज रिलेटिवली लेस, बट स्टिल द स्कोर्स इवेंचुअली आर गोइंग टू बी लाइक दिस. सो ऑप्शनल में द स्कोर्स यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ ऑप्शनल के स्कोर्स आर गोइंग टू वर्क. ऑप्शनल का स्कोर्स आर ऑलवेज गोइंग टू बी, इट इज रिलेटिव, ठीक है, यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ इट वर्क्स. इट इज रिलेटिव. रिलेटिव का मतलब है कि इट इज़ अ परसेंटाइल काइंड ऑफ सिस्टम. दैट्स द इजीएस्ट वे फॉर यू टू रिमेंबर इट, ठीक है, और द इजीएस्ट वे फॉर यू टू बी एबल टू विजुअलाइज इट. इज दिस क्लियर? आई होप दैट यू आर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. सो द ओवरऑल पॉइंट हियर इज, if it is a relative thing, regardless of who's writing this here, if you are in the top 1 percentile, ठीक है, in the top 1%, मान लो कि there are 1000 people writing, 1500 people writing, 2000 people writing, या 500 लोग लिख रहे हैं. If you are in the top, let's say कि 2000 people are writing या 1200 people are writing, just any number. If it is 2000 people writing, just for the math to be easier, ठीक है, that means 200 people are going to be top 10%, but it is only going to be कितने 1% that are going to actually do well, ठीक है, in the top 1%. All you got to do is, if you have good amount of answer writing volume, okay, you can easily put yourself in the top 1%, because it is not only knowledge, but you are constantly practicing your final skill that you're going to be tested on, that is to show good 100 pages. You understand, na? ठीक है, your thought, your process, right, your processing of the question, your processing of your own sort of thoughts, your ability to sort of execute with intro, body, conclusion, all of those things with equal sort of quality from top till the bottom, morning में 50 pages, evening में 50 pages and so on. ठीक है, so the next couple of months में our goal is going to be very very simple. I want you to learn to write better answers. I want you to start thinking more clearly. When you see a particular topic, you should be able to visualize how, what is going to basically be on the paper, even before you write it, whether it is 2 page, you should be able to visualize the 2 pages. यहाँ पे ये heading आएगा, and heading के just तुरंत the more of the explanation is going to be in the next page. यहाँ पे I'm going to have a box, यहाँ पे I'm going to basically have something, ठीक है, यहाँ से conclusion start होगा, so like that. And I want you to be able to visualize this and be able to execute this under pressure. ठीक है, and that is what this program is going to try to make you do. ठीक है, it is not something anthro में ना, or any other kind of optional also, ठीक है, but optional anthro specifically speaking, it is not a short burst of effort. ठीक है, जहाँ पे आप पढ़ रहे हो and बाकी सब एक महीने में लिखोगे, ठीक है, this is not a 1 month kind of a phase. ठीक है, it is a process. 75 to 80 days है, मतलब you have to split that 75 to 80 days in equal kind of effort होना चाहिए, and it has to be structured in that. So if you stay in the process consistently, you have to believe this. ठीक है, the results will take care of themselves. You don't have to worry about what is going to happen on that final day. ठीक है, what do we want QEP Plus to do for you? Okay, QEP Plus is basically for what? Okay, so you know the structure of QEP Plus. So before we even start, ठीक है, and today I will basically give you a rundown of like how we're going to do and what should be your mindset and so on. ठीक है, QEP Plus क्या है और क्या नहीं है. Okay, यही है जो I'll just tell you. ठीक है, so this is not mainly कि मतलब और बहुत सारा कंटेंट हम पढ़ेंगे. ठीक है, पढ़ लेते हैं, ठीक है, कंटेंट तो होगा, ठीक है, बिकॉज आई एम गोइंग टू कवर सो मेनी डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ टॉपिक्स कि कंटेंट कवरेज तो होगा, बट इट इज नॉट ओनली अ कंटेंट कवरेज का टॉपिक. ठीक है, आई एम नॉट हियर टू बेसिकली मेक यू सिट एंड टीच यू द एंटायर सिलेबस इन अ डिफरेंट वे. ठीक है, वो हो जाएगा, ऑलमोस्ट एवरी पार्ट ऑफ द सिलेबस इज गोइंग टू बी कवर्ड, बट यू ऑलरेडी हैव योर क्लासेस, यू ऑलरेडी हैव अटेंडेड देम, यू ऑलरेडी प्रॉब्ली हैव योर बुक्स, यू ऑलरेडी हैव वो करंट अफेयर्स वगैरह मैं दे दूंगा. ठीक है, एंड आई एम श्योर दैट यू हैव काउंटलेस ऑफ रिसोर्सेज. ठीक है, द प्रॉब्लम फॉर मोस्ट स्टूडेंट्स इज बेसिकली नॉट लैक ऑफ कंटेंट. कंटेंट का प्रॉब्लम हो ही नहीं पाए, मतलब इवन इफ यू डू 10% ऑफ QEP प्लस, कंटेंट इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी एन इशू. ठीक है, फॉर यू टू बी एबल टू गेट योर पेपर फ्रॉम 120, 125 ऑल द वे टिल लेट्स से 150, 160 लाइक आवर स्टूडेंट्स हैव डन. ठीक है, द प्रॉब्लम इज बेसिकली इन कन्वर्टिंग योर नॉलेज इनटू मार्क्स. ओके, इट इज अबाउट कन्वर्टिंग योर नॉलेज इनटू मार्क्स. ठीक है, दैट कन्वर्जन बेसिकली हैपेंस ओनली थ्रू आंसर राइटिंग. Okay, only through answer writing, through answer writing in class here, through test writing, through feedback, through correction. ठीक है, and being able to repeat it again and again. Finally मतलब आप uniform and consistent हो in terms of the quality that you're writing in. ठीक है, don't worry about where you are today. ठीक है, you do not have to look intelligent, you do not have to look polished, especially when it comes to June. June does not matter at all. June better be the struggle. ठीक है, June better be the paper जहाँ पे you feel कि मतलब I don't want anybody to see what I was in June. I want everybody to know कि my score is basically a product of my where I was in August. ठीक है, so the objective यहाँ पे it is to write better answers when it comes to end of August. Every test जो है आपका, every discussion जो है, ठीक है, every mistake that you make is basically part of this process. ठीक है, यहाँ पे ग्रोथ को हम एक्सपेक्ट करके करेंगे बट नॉट परफेक्शन. द सेकंड यू थिंक आई हैव टू बी परफेक्ट बिफोर आई स्टार्ट राइटिंग, मतलब यू हैव ऑलरेडी लॉस्ट द मतलब perfection is basically the worst thing. ठीक है, if you think perfection, मतलब perfection is equal to delay. Perfection is the enemy of your preparation. Understand this. The general mistakes that I've seen that many students make, see, one mistake that I see, and this is the most common mistake I would say, it's repeated year after year, it is that students keep waiting. ठीक है, they think that हम एक बार पूरा syllabus हम finish करेंगे, then they wait to revise, and उसके बाद they feel कि मतलब एक confidence नहीं आ रहा है, वो feel नहीं आ रहा है, वो feel कब आएगा? Only so you're thinking that you're going to feel ready and then you're going to start writing. The problem is that nobody basically ever feels completely ready until they start writing. ठीक है, so let's say I'm playing cricket. ठीक है, or doing some dance, Bharatnatyam or something. ठीक है, nobody basically holds that bat and then says कि what, I don't feel confident today. ठीक है, थोड़ा सा और mentally prepare करके और थोड़ा सा बुमराह का bowling वगैरह देख के, ठीक है, सचिन का old ये सब देख के हम आएंगे and then we'll be able to do it. You cannot do that. ठीक है, Bharatnatyam में you cannot basically come and then immediately be able to pull off some great moves. It is just not going to happen. ठीक है, पहले you have to bat and you have to look ugly. ठीक है, you have to cup मतलब बहुत सारा beatings लोगे, and even in Bharatnatyam you're going to be like okay, rewind and then play again, rewind and play again, एक और rehearsal, मतलब 10 rehearsals बहुत सारे करने पड़ेंगे. The writing is no different. ठीक है, nobody basically sits down and says कि now I know everything, I feel kind of confident, now everything basically is going to flow, मतलब मेरा my thinking, my coherence, my anything that I write is going to be extremely cohesive. ठीक है, now I'm ready to write. ऐसा नहीं होता है. ठीक है, so in August the last thing that you want to do is that feeling कि I've been reading and reading and revising but I just don't feel it. ठीक है, and because of that August में your confidence is very different. ठीक है, and you don't feel like writing. ठीक है, बिकॉज अभी जून में जो भी होगा इट डजंट रियली मैटर. ठीक है, बट अगस्त में इफ यू फील कि मतलब इट जस्ट नॉट कमिंग आउट द वे आई वांट ना, आप स्टॉप कर लोगे, आप फ्रीज हो जाओगे. ठीक है, सो अनलेस यू होल्ड द बैट, अनलेस यू स्टार्ट डूइंग योर भरतनाट्यम, ठीक है, अनलेस यू स्टार्ट होल्डिंग योर पेन, दैट डे व्हेन यू फील कॉन्फिडेंट एंड यू फील लाइक आई एम इन द जोन डजंट कम. कॉन्फिडेंस ओनली स्टार्ट्स कमिंग वंस यू स्टार्ट राइटिंग. ठीक है, क्लैरिटी, conceptual clarity that is shown on the paper, not here. Okay, and that basically gets shown on the paper basically comes only when you start showing it on the paper. Is that clear? So eventually you have to have it in your mind कि मतलब if I want to be basically show my conceptual clarity in इतना space या इतना space in full page या 3 pages, every one of these things के लिए I have a very clear idea कि how do I basically go. वरना क्या होगा, you write a line and then you're like wait. ठीक है, और 4 line और लिख सकते हैं, इसको कैसे, how do I basically show it, and then again you're thinking. You get the picture, right? वो conceptual clarity मतलब if you practice writing again and again, eventually whether it is इतने में या इतने में या इतने में या इतने में also will basically become, it will become very natural. ठीक है, मसल मेमोरी टाइप का हो जाता है. स्पीड बेसिकली कम्स बिकॉज योर राइटिंग. स्पीड ऑल्सो इज अबाउट 2 डिफरेंट थिंग्स. इट इज योर थिंकिंग स्पीड एंड इट इज योर राइटिंग स्पीड. इफ यू कैन कंप्लीट योर जीएस, ठीक है, ऑप्शनल ऑल्सो में आपका राइटिंग स्पीड इज नॉट एन इशू, बट थिंकिंग स्पीड इज गोइंग टू कंस्ट्रेन यू अ लॉट मोर, बिकॉज जीएस में कितने 2 डायमेंशन होंगे, इन 10 मार्कर्स 3 डायमेंशन होंगे, प्रॉब्लम, सोल्यूशंस, इनिशिएटिव्स, इससे ज़्यादा क्या पूछते हैं. ठीक है, बट ऑप्शनल में यू हैव टू बेसिकली बहुत सारे डायमेंशन आपको खोलने पड़ेंगे, एंड फॉर दैट योर माइंड विल नॉट वर्क दैट क्विक. ठीक है, सो इंप्रूवमेंट बेसिकली कम्स हाउ, if you can struggle in your June. Okay, if you can write ugly answers, if your paper looks ugly overall, maybe with the best of handwriting and presentation, but I'm saying it is ugly in terms of the structure, the content. One part basically is like overemphasize, one part के लिए मतलब आपको de-emphasize करना पड़ रहा है because space नहीं है, एक के लिए conclusion नहीं है. You understand ना? So it doesn't matter. June में if you struggle, your July में you basically have picked up आपका momentum. Okay, so this thing becomes important. Writing also creates, मतलब writing is the only way to get that readiness. I have students who have done, last year 160 plus, 140 plus. ठीक है, in one paper 306, ठीक है, I think it is the second highest score in last year का paper, and that was a student who basically did not clear 5 prelims, and more on that particular student I'll tell you over the course, ठीक है. That student was scoring in the 40s, ठीक है, in the beginning tests, and that is you know, and that student was a topper in my last test, ठीक है, and I think in the top 3 or top 5 in the second last test, just to give you an idea, ठीक है. Many aspirants वो क्या करेंगे, and she eventually became the second highest, ठीक है, and 300 plus is not an easy task, ठीक है, 160 plus is not an easy task, ठीक है. So many aspirants basically think that writing is only the final stage of preparation, but this student wrote with 40s, wrote multiple tests scoring 40s, multiple tests scoring 50s, ठीक है. So always remember, it is the opposite, ठीक है. You know, writing itself is preparation, ठीक है. Writing is preparation itself. You discover gaps only when you start writing, ठीक है. अगर वाइवा होता तो ठीक है, यू नो, यू स्टडी इट इन अ डिफरेंट वे, ठीक है. बट इस काइंड ऑफ टेस्ट के लिए यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, यू विल बी एबल टू डिस्कवर व्हाट इज योर वीकनेस, ठीक है, व्हाट आर योर गैप्स ओनली व्हेन यू स्टार्ट राइटिंग, ठीक है. यू डिस्कवर व्हाट यू रिमेंबर एंड व्हाट यू डोंट रिमेंबर, ठीक है. व्हाट आर द थिंग्स दैट यू टेंड टू फॉरगेट. फॉर एग्जांपल, लेट्स से दैट, यू नो, देयर इज अ वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चन, लेट्स से सोमैटो टाइपिंग ऑफ शेल्डन, ठीक है. ओके, आई नो शेल्डन, ठीक है, आई नो ही वाज अ साइकोलॉजिस्ट, ठीक है. ही रोट अ book, something atlas, ठीक है, something 1950s, ठीक है. But I know ecto, endo, you know, and meso, right? Let's see if I can, you know, just draw a fat kind of person, roundish person. Can I draw somebody who's fitter, ठीक है. Can I draw somebody who's skinnier, ठीक है. Some of those, maybe one came out well, the other two basically became, you know, मतलब funny, you laugh, ठीक है. ये दोनों थोड़ा सा प्रैक्टिस करना है. उसके बाद then you're like, okay, now I don't remember the exact points for each of these, ठीक है, but can I just say, let me just try to sort of like, you know, describe this particular round person, this person who is like relatively fitter, this person who tends to have a linear, ठीक है. उसमें से okay, not bad, okay, तीन points तो बना लिया मैंने, ठीक है. I'm able to describe and so on. So writing basically gives you that confidence. So after writing, when you basically go back and look at your notes ना, you feel कि मतलब I need to take another 10%, मतलब starting में आपको I need to take a look at another 40%, या then उसके बाद 30%, then 20%, then 10%, ठीक है. So don't wait for this complete confidence, don't wait for that ideal moment. There is only one ideal moment, and that is basically now. Every answer is going to teach you something, you know, that, you know, passive reading and recalling never can, ठीक है. सो ऑलवेज रिमेंबर, मेंस के लिए 75 to 80 डेज के लिए, दिस इंक्लूड्स योर जीएस एज वेल, ठीक है. यू नो, ऑलवेज स्टडीइंग मीन्स कि मतलब पेन एंड पेपर होने चाहिए, A4 शीट्स होने चाहिए जहाँ पे आपने लाइंस या बॉर्डर वगैरह ड्रॉ कर लिया, या मतलब यू बाइट, यू नो, दोस फोटोकॉपीज आपको मिल सकते हैं. Think about improvement, ठीक है. You know, right now we don't know what level you're basically coming in, ठीक है, but you know, wherever you are, there is always room for a lot of improvement, and that improvement comes from what? Repeating, ठीक है. रिपीटिंग. यू वांट टू डू अ गुड सॉर्ट ऑफ मतलब गिटार का, लेट्स से परफॉर्मेंस, ठीक है, यू गॉट टू रिपीट इट, ठीक है. होटल कैलिफोर्निया, यू नो, स्टेयरवे टू हेवन, वॉट एवर इट इज, ठीक है. मतलब इतने बार आपको करने पड़ेंगे, राइट. यू कैन नॉट बी अ बॉर्न गिटारिस्ट, यू कैन बी अ बॉर्न गुड आंसर राइटर, ठीक है. लास्ट ईयर आई टेल यू, सो मतलब आई नो ऑल ऑफ दिस बिकॉज, यू नो, आई एम कॉन्स्टेंटली इन टच विद इट. दिस इज माई जॉब, दिस इज माई ब्रेड, दिस इज माई बटर, ठीक है. I've done well before, ठीक है. आई एम वेरी कंफर्टेबल, आई लव दिस सब्जेक्ट, ठीक है. बट दैट डज नॉट मीन दैट इफ यू एंड आई राइट and you have more answer writing volume than me, then, you know, I can beat you without a doubt, ठीक है. I might have knowledge for all of those things, but in terms of who's going to have much better looking paper, ठीक है, that really depends on who's put in this kind of volume. Okay, who's got the highest volume of writing, ठीक है. They have a way, ठीक है. They're good at that particular skill. I might be having a good skill of being able to come here and speak here and being able to tell you कि I mean, in this direction you can मतलब dimensions ऐसे खोल सकते हो, यहाँ पे you can, you know, this angle से आप देख सकते हो, this angle से आप देख सकते हो, this angle से आप देख सकते हो. All those things I might be able to do. I might have a lot more sort of points to be able to substantiate those points. I might have more sort of important arguments. I might have, मतलब knowledge है मेरे पास, ठीक है. But ability to basically show, you know, on a piece of paper is relatively it really comes down to who's put in a more answer writing volume. In fact, last year I wrote 4 tests, ठीक है. 6 करना था, ठीक है, but you know, I basically started writing those, and the first test was the hardest for me, and every year यही होता है. the पहला वाला टेस्ट में तो मतलब, you know, it's very difficult for me. I start off a little slower, you know, handwriting, you know, I try to put in everything. I start being very perfectionist in the beginning, and then eventually I'm like 3 hours के अंदर finish करना ही है, and then so on, ठीक है. but by the time I come to the 4th test, I feel a little more confident. Same thing for you, ठीक है. every rank holder जो है, you know, they started with writing average answers, ठीक है. every good test performer has written bad tests, and that is going to be very normal, ठीक है, स्किल जो है इट बेसिकली डेवलप्स व्हेन यू रिपीट इट अगेन एंड अगेन. यू नो, इफ यू कीप राइटिंग, यू नो, योर ब्रेन इज गोइंग टू बी वायर्ड दैट एनी काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन दैट कम्स टू यू, ठीक है, you are going to be able to sort of present it a lot better, better structure, better intro, better conclusion, ठीक है, better flow, right, good arguments, all those things are going to come out a lot better. So improvement basically comes by repeating these kind of writing on Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday. These are the days in which we are going to do. So my request to you is, some modules where you're going to feel confident, some modules where you're going to feel a little less confident, okay, so don't just show up. Okay, the only thing Priya Chauhan did, and I can tell you this for sure, and I've said this multiple times before as well, okay, the only thing that she's going to do is that she's going to be there for every session, okay, with a smile, okay, always so enthusiastic, okay, shows gets 40 but she's always enthusiastic. Sir, did not clear 5 times, 6th time to matlab chance mila hai, I just want to do my best, what can I do to improve, okay sir ye karte hain. And then after doing it also, she'll basically come and say, sir, I tried doing what you had suggested, is it come out well, and so on. You understand, right? So if I can just tell you one thing to do, basically show up. ठीक है, whether you're prepared, whether you're not prepared. ठीक है, let's say कि theories आपने पढ़ा नहीं है, ठीक है, but the major ideas आपको पता है, ठीक है, give it let's say half an hour. ठीक है, I need some scholars, I need some their books, ठीक है, I need to understand their main ideas, ठीक है, the main sort of concepts. Let me see if I can sort of like construct answers around it. ठीक है, maybe 3 pages लिख नहीं पाऊंगा, maybe 4 pages लिख नहीं पाऊंगा, but 2 पेज लिख के देखता हूँ. There will be those days जहाँ पे आपका preparation, whichever kind of module में, sometimes it will feel incomplete, confidence low रहेगा. There will be days when you feel कि मतलब right, you're feeling so critical. I feel like everybody else could write better than this. I could write better than this. I am so disappointed myself. All these things are common. ठीक है, don't treat this as a signal to stop. Write anyway. ठीक है, you're going to have at least मतलब इतने मतलब मान लो कि मतलब 10 हफ्ते के लिए लिख रहे हो, ठीक है, उसमें से 3 हफ्ते के लिए it is going to be bad. 3 हफ्ते के लिए it is going to be average. ठीक है, 3 हफ्ते के लिए it is going to be good. Okay, 1 हफ्ते के लिए it might be any of these. You understand now, but you participate anyway, you attend anyway. This is for your GS as well. ठीक है, your job is essentially just to stay eventually in the process. ठीक है, as long as you stay in the process for 75-80 days, regardless of what is your starting point, I am telling you, you can score 150 plus. ठीक है, I don't know about the other options, but UPSC anthropology में it is really possible. Okay, many aspirants basically overcomplicate their preparation. ठीक है, your job is just to keep it very very simple. Just attend the classes, attend these sessions, come to these sessions, write your answers. You feel confident, send me your answers. If you don't feel that confident, ठीक है, I'm fine if you don't send me, but I will evaluate it. I would request you to basically send it. But everybody's is going to be bad. ठीक है, don't create some kind of ऐसा एक feeling कि मतलब ऐसा answer है तो only then don't tie it to your ego, don't tie it to your personality, don't tie it to your it has nothing to do with you. ठीक है, it's just about that day you're prepared, that day you're not prepared. ठीक है, but write. ठीक है, write these in these sessions, write these tests. ठीक है, read the feedback, improve. Generally I'll tell you one thing to work on, and that is all. ठीक है, so let's say from first week to the second week we might work on one thing, second week to the third week we might work on one thing, and that might be customized to you. ठीक है, and first 6 tests के लिए just write, just put in the answer writing volume, because the only competition here is going to be in the FLTs. ठीक है, about the FLTs. Do not ever think कि August में क्या होगा. If the second you think about August में क्या होगा, ठीक है, it is going to start, mentally, psychologically, emotionally, it is going to start affecting you. Forget what happens in August. You tell yourself these 75 to 80 days I will use it to the best of my ability, ठीक है, and August में whatever it is, ठीक है, I have done my karma. August में I'll just go and have fun. ठीक है, I'll give it my all. Whatever I've learned here, I'll basically go and try to give my best there, and that's all I'm going to do. Don't think कि how much I need above the cutoffs. कितना करेंगे तो कितना improvement होगा. Just keep improving on a daily basis. You never know कि how far you can go on that final day. Is that clear? So आज का focus आज का कर्म आज. ठीक है, so consistency, if you can keep that, it beats that, those short bursts of intensity जो होंगे ना. This week I'm in the zone, ठीक है, and then last 2 weeks I've just not been in the zone. ठीक है, consistency with average sort of performance, just showing up like school for every one of these things is going to beat everybody else. Almost every single time यही होता है. Okay, and generally in these I'm going to do one thing, and that is going to make it slightly harder than your comfort level. ठीक है, what does it mean, slightly harder than your comfort level? The point is now, some tests are going to make you feel difficult. Some answer writing sessions are going to make it feel like it's a little difficult for you, it's a little uncomfortable for you, and when you feel uncomfortable for writing for half an hour, ठीक है, it's not a good feeling. ठीक है, इट्स नॉट अ गुड फीलिंग. यू फील कि अरे यार व्हाट इज हैपनिंग, यू नो आई वाज इन रिदम लास्ट वीक, इस हफ्ते नहीं है. बट माय पॉइंट इज टू एंश्योर इफ आई एम नॉट बीइंग एबल टू कीप यू इन आउटसाइड ऑफ योर कंफर्ट जोन, ठीक है, मतलब देन आई एम डूइंग समथिंग रॉन्ग. ठीक है, सो आई एम अज्यूमिंग दैट इवन फॉर द बेस्ट ऑफ यू देयर शुड बी सम लेवल ऑफ डिस्कम्फर्ट, बिकॉज यू नो उसी के डिस्कम्फर्ट के आगे ही जीत है. ठीक है, अंडरस्टैंड इट लाइक दिस. This is exactly what you're supposed to do. ठीक है, a difficult test or a difficult writing session, that is not something that needs to be seen as a punishment or it is just a diagnostic tool. ठीक है, it shows you where your gaps are, and once those gaps become visible, ओके यहाँ पे मेरे कंटेंट बढ़ नहीं रहे हैं. ठीक है, यहाँ पे मेरे आंसर्स फ्लो नहीं हो रहे हैं. यहाँ पे आई फील कि आई एम रिपीटिंग द सेम पॉइंट अगेन एंड अगेन. आई फील लाइक आई एम एडिंग द सेम काइंड ऑफ आइडियाज अगेन एंड अगेन. ठीक है, वंस वी रियलाइज कि इशू क्या है, इट कैन बी फिक्स्ड. ठीक है, माई जॉब इज टू एंश्योर दैट एवरी सिंगल डे यू कम टू मी. ठीक है, ट्यूसडे, वेडनेसडे, थर्सडे, ठीक है, एंड संडे को आप टेस्ट लिखोगे, मंडे को उसका डिस्कशन होगा. एवरी वन ऑफ दीज डेज should feel harder than you are going to feel on the 31st of August or whatever is the day for your final anthropology. ठीक है, if you feel कि this was easier than your final day, ठीक है, I messed up. ठीक है, I've messed up. ठीक है, so difficult tests or difficult, I wouldn't even say difficult, I should say कि a little bit of discomfort. ठीक है, a little bit of discomfort, that makes you, stay on your toes, it makes you improve. ठीक है, so that on that one particular day you should feel कि मतलब, I felt very comfortable. ठीक है, आई फेल्ट काइंड ऑफ कंफर्टेबल. ठीक है, मतलब आई हैव बीन डूइंग द सेम थिंग, सम बाउंसर क्वेश्चंस केम, इट डिडंट बॉदर मी सो मच. ठीक, मतलब होता ही है, मतलब दैट्स नॉर्मल. आई हैव बीन डूइंग दिस डे इन एंड डे आउट एंड सो ऑन. ठीक है, when you come from prelims to your mains wala mode na, there will be some, you're going to be tested on your mental endurance. ठीक है, prelims तक, first of all prelims was hard. ठीक है, it was uncertain, मतलब you've heard all kinds of analysis on prelims. ठीक है, so I'm not even going to say anything about prelims, but I will tell you, when you're doing prelims and mains का preparation, if you're sitting for the same amount of time, it will feel कि मतलब mains के लिए, you're mentally getting tired much sooner. ठीक है, because prelims के में ना, your mind is scanning कि कौन सा fact कहाँ पे, कौन सा, power of association, if this is the river, this is the tributary, you have some kind of memory like this. ठीक है, but mains में जो है, the answer is not in front of you that you just have to be able to identify. ठीक है, और to say कि it is not the answer, eliminate. ठीक है, मेंस ऐसा है जहाँ पे मतलब they'll give you a question that is maybe 10 words. ठीक है, then they will say कि write another 250 words, write another 350 words, write another 150 words. So almost everything that you've got to do has to be constantly from here. So mains का preparation generally will feel, and please, मतलब you have to, I'm telling you this beforehand so that you understand कि मतलब this is what is to be expected. ठीक है, I was able to study for such a long time for prelims. अभी mains में तो मतलब shorter sessions में itself I'm getting mentally tired. You are going to be, because mains is different, right? They give you very little, everything you have to deliver. You get the picture, right? Prelims में you read a particular question, then you go to another question. ये नहीं, I'll go to another one. I go there, I go to another thing. I'll flip through, and then I'll basically go to my polities or my economies or whatever is my strength. Yes, जो भी page आप flip करोगे, it is still going to test your mental endurance, because every word that has to be used to fill out that particular page should basically come from here. ठीक है, so think it is basically like a challenge of discipline. ठीक है, it will be, there will be fatigue, there will be frustration, there will be irritation, there will be periods यहाँ पे you feel कि self doubt, वो सब होने वाले हैं. Every serious aspirant, every one of the toppers that we've had in the past year, the year before, and so on, they experience these phases without a doubt. If they have faced it and they are your seniors, ठीक है, मतलब you're also going to face it. The goal is basically not to avoid them. The goal is basically to continue despite them. You get the picture, right? So mentally tired तो रहेगा, but your job is to ensure that you plow through. You मतलब you keep moving. ठीक है, in that discomfort itself. ठीक है, repeat करो, consistent रहो. ठीक है, just be mentally मतलब expect करो कि मतलब यही है आपका. ठीक है, mental endurance is going to be definitely tested. Okay, what successful candidates basically do differently, right? So this is also another thing that I have covered in the previous session. Okay, and yesterday ka point that I talked about already, right? Now you might think that the students who have done exceptionally better, let's say you have scored 120, 125, somebody is scoring 160, that's a lot of marks ka difference, right? Now you might be thinking, where exactly or what exactly are they doing different? Okay, the students who are actually doing a lot better, okay, you might be in the top 3%, you might be in the top 5%. ठीक है, the persons who are in the top 1% have done some things a little better. ठीक है, now it is not in the questions, there are these bouncer questions. ये 2 question अगर मुझे पता होता तो 100% I would have basically scored so much. ठीक है, ऐसा नहीं होता है. You get the picture, right? जो आपको नहीं पता है उनको भी mostly पता नहीं है. You get the picture, right? Okay. For example, even the topper, the second topper, right, Priya Chauhan, 165, 145, something like this. I forget exact breakup. Okay, even she has not attempted 2 to 3 questions in paper 1 last year. Okay, and more on that a little later. Okay, there were some questions that she had not. You understand, no? Okay, what she did is in the other questions that she had written, she is basically scoring, 1 mark more, 2 marks more, 3 marks more. Is that clear? So let's say that, you have 16 questions, 17 questions that you have written. Okay, out of total of 19 questions jo honge. Okay, so that means if somebody is scoring, let's say 206, somebody is scoring 306, what is the difference here? That's 100 marks difference. That means 50 marks in the morning, 50 marks in the afternoon. What is happening? Okay, 50 marks extra उन्होंने attempt किया है क्या? ठीक है, it is not like this. ठीक है, that extra 100 marks usually comes just from getting these extra 1 mark and 2 marks and 3 marks from these doable questions. ठीक है, every question that is doable, मान लो कि at least 15 questions are doable. ठीक है, वहाँ पे you're getting 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark, again and again and again. ठीक है, that is where the ranks are created. Okay, it is not from these kind of bounces. So even the basics of questions or the basic topics, if you're able to sort of like find a way to be able to handle them in a way better than the others, okay, matlab make it very difficult for your evaluator to cut marks anywhere. Introduction, it's on par with the best introductions. Conclusions, on par with the best conclusions. 4 to 5 lines here, 4 to 5 lines here. Okay, does the student have multiple sort of dimensions? Yes, multiple dimensions have been analyzed, even if it is within the word limit. Okay, has the student been able to sort of create good arguments? Okay, have those arguments been sort of like substantiated? Okay, has so matlab you understand, so you're basically doing the same easy moderate sort of questions also. Usme bhi you're able to score that extra 2 marks and 3 marks in comparison to your competitors. Okay, so if you're writing a question on, let's say, cultural relativism, please see, okay, did I write cultural relativism in a manner that is within the time limit, within the word limit, but still is going to be better than the others? Okay, so that is something that you've got to do. So they just do a few things consistently. Okay, apart from these, they write regularly. Okay, they keep looking at their mistakes. So feedback becomes important to them, and eventually they're working on it, and eventually they're going to improve. You understand now? So immediate improvement to nahi hoga. In the next test, I'm not going to suddenly become a person with better conclusions or better introductions. Okay, but I keep trying to execute that improvement. Okay, but don't chase that perfection. Okay, by the time mains arrives, August 31st, you have done it so many times jahan pe you're constantly thinking, I'm working on this, I'm working on this, I'm working on this. Eventually your answer writing is going to be better than the others. Your weakness is going to be something that you can actually mask, and that's exactly what they've done, and that is their biggest advantage, just consistent with what they're doing. So if there is one thing that you should do, okay, see, when you see a good answer copy, a topper students, I'll show you many of these that students have written who are in the rank list and how well they have written. Okay, you might actually assume that the student, that person is basically naturally talented. Okay, oh, ऐसे मतलब this is like some gift है उनमें. Okay, usually it is not true. Yes, some people have some gifts in terms of, for example, the year before this, I had a student who basically scored close to 280. That is one of the highest for that particular year, close to 115 one of the papers. Okay, second paper could not complete, but that student had only taken anthropology post prelims, foundation ke baad. Okay, but that student was mentally strong and always positive. Okay, Priya Singh Chauhan, did not matter that she was 40. She was just so happy that, she's able to do so many of these things because mains likhne ka ek aim tha. Okay, and abhi chance mil raha hai, so I just want to do everything just to get a feel for it. And eventually, now is an IAS. Okay? So if you see, they are not, something that is like natural talent kuch hai, that is like, they're meant for anthropology or for UPSC or something. That is generally not true. Okay? Good answers basically are produced by practice. Structure, अगर आप काम कर रहे हो, it improves through practice. ठीक है, अगर आप speed में काम कर रहे हो, both writing speed and thinking speed, it generally comes through practice. Content recall जो है, it improves through your practice. Confidence जो है, it basically improves through your practice. There is no, मतलब इसका कोई shortcut नहीं है. ठीक है, there is no natural talent that is going to, मतलब nobody has any talent in anthropology. ठीक है, anthropology is not even a subject. Maybe not even 1% of students basically have this in their undergrad or their masters. Okay, everybody who comes into UPSC has another kind of a background. Okay, so when they come in here, okay, they are they are learning new topics just like you. Okay, so nobody has any मतलब कोई advantage नहीं है. Okay, it's very much a level playing field for everybody. So if you have more practice, मतलब it is going to be that next time somebody looks at you after you have practiced quite a bit, and they are going to say कि मतलब this kid or this particular student has some natural talent. उनको पता नहीं होगा कि मतलब it has come through practice. ठीक है, so just take it one step at a time. Okay, one step at a a time, and don't think, मतलब never ever think about what is going to happen in August 31st. I told you, right? Don't think about the whole journey. ठीक है, आज का journey to your next वाला, what is it, the next stop के लिए. ठीक है, so what are you going to think? Don't think about mains, don't think about marks, don't think about ranks, don't think about optional GS essay उस टाइप में. ठीक है, मेरा इतना होना चाहिए, इतना होना चाहिए, उतना चाहिए. All you got to do is focus on this particular week. Write down what are the things that are going to be. आप GS and essay के लिए कुछ कहीं पे enroll करोगे, वहाँ पे they'll give you some kind of a targets. Just finish the targets by the end of the week. ठीक है, एंथ्रो के लिए आप कर रहे हो, जस्ट फिनिश द टारगेट्स. ओके, मंडे को एक टारगेट है, मंडे को टारगेट नहीं है, ठीक है, ट्यूसडे को एक टारगेट है, वेंसडे को एक टारगेट है, थर्सडे को एक टारगेट है. उसके बाद फ्राइडे एंड सैटरडे के लिए लिटिल बिट ऑफ अ ब्रेक बिफोर यू हैव टू राइट योर टेस्ट ऑन संडे. You get the picture, right? As long as you do this week after week after week, ठीक है, एक राउंड ऑफ इम्प्रूवमेंट, सेकंड राउंड ऑफ इम्प्रूवमेंट, थर्ड वीक ऑफ इम्प्रूवमेंट, फोर्थ वीक ऑफ इम्प्रूवमेंट, ऐसे जस्ट डू दिस. ठीक है, मतलब 7 हफ्ते में, 8 हफ्ते में यू विल फील कि मतलब आई कुड नॉट इवन इमेजिन दैट आई एम राइटिंग लाइक दिस. स्मॉल गेन्स होंगे एवरी सिंगल वीक. ठीक है, एक वीक टू नेक्स्ट वीक यू कैन नॉट सी द डिफरेंस. ठीक है, इनफैक्ट द फर्स्ट 6 वीक्स के लिए यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू सी द डिफरेंस. व्हाई विल यू नॉट सी द डिफरेंस इन द फर्स्ट 6 वीक्स? बिकॉज एवरी टॉपिक दैट यू आर गोइंग टू गो टू इज गोइंग टू बी अ डिफरेंट मॉड्यूल. ठीक है, एवरी वीक इज गोइंग टू बी कि बाय द टाइम यू डेवलप सम कंफर्ट बाय संडे, ठीक है, मंडे या मतलब ट्यूसडे को अनदर मॉड्यूल शुरू होगा एंड यू विल फील कि मतलब ये क्या है. ठीक है, फॉर लॉन्ग टाइम यू विल फील कि मतलब वो कंफर्ट लेवल नहीं आ रहा है. ठीक है, इनफैक्ट आई विल टेल यू, इवन द 7th वीक जहाँ पे यू विल स्टार्ट योर FLTs, इट इज नॉट गोइंग टू गो वेल. ठीक है, पहला वाला FLT इज लाइक इट इज प्रॉब्ली द वर्स्ट फीलिंग एवर. ठीक है, आई कैन डू बायोलॉजिकल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी, ठीक है, आई फील वेरी वेरी कंफर्टेबल. ठीक है, बट द सेकंड आई हैव टू डू बायोलॉजिकल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी, सोशल एंथ्रोपोलॉजी, देन आई हैव टू डू माय फॉसिल्स, देन आई हैव टू डू माय आर्कियो, देन आई हैव टू बेसिकली लुक एट द प्राइमेट्स वाला टॉपिक, देन आई हैव टू डू इंडियन सोसाइटी, आई हैव टू डू योर ट्राइबल, आई हैव टू बेसिकली लुक एट थियरीज, आई हैव टू लुक एट रिसर्च मेथड्स. ये सब माइंड में रखना इज गोइंग टू बी, आई एम टेलिंग यू, मतलब मेंटली प्रिपेयर करके रख लो. ठीक है, डोंट जज योर सेल्फ बेस्ड ऑन योर फर्स्ट FLTs. ठीक है, पहला फर्स्ट 2 FLTs में इट इज गोइंग टू बी कि मतलब इट इज गोइंग टू फील लाइक यू हैव गॉन वर्स देन योर फर्स्ट 6 वीक्स. ठीक है, बट बाय द टाइम इट इज सेकंड राउंड ऑफ FLTs, थर्ड राउंड ऑफ FLTs, फोर्थ राउंड ऑफ FLTs, जस्ट जज योरसेल्फ बेस्ड ऑन दीस. एज लॉन्ग एज यू राइट इट इन द सेम वीक्स इट इज मेंट फॉर. ठीक है, नथिंग इज गोइंग टू स्टॉप यू फ्रॉम 150 मिनिमम. ठीक है, इफ इट्स अ गुड डे, बैड डे, डजंट मैटर. ठीक है, योर बैड डे इज स्टिल गोइंग टू बी बेटर देन मेनी पीपल का गुड डेज. सो बाय ऑगस्ट ऑटोमेटिकली यू शुड एक्चुअली बी डिफरेंट. Okay, you will become very different by the time it is August. August meaning it is your last, towards the end of your August is where you have to write your mains. You will feel a lot more comfortable while writing your answers. You will feel कि आपका pen is also moving much faster. Your mind and your pen is basically going much faster. it's gliding. ठीक है, ability to look at a particular question and immediately you're able to sort of get argument 1, argument 2, argument 3. ठीक है, and how do I basically structure these kind of arguments? ठीक है, all those things are like visually appearing in your brain, in your head, in your mind. ठीक है, you are able to identify the demand of the questions like quite accurately, like exactly like how they are expecting. You're able to handle the pressure better. You're seeing questions की मतलब ये पहला वाला नहीं पता, second वाला नहीं पता, third वाला नहीं पता. It doesn't matter because at the end of the day, for everybody there is going to be, every year में there is going to be people who are scoring 150 plus, 160 plus. ठीक है, does that mean a perfect paper होना चाहिए? नहीं. ठीक है, even Priya did not have a perfect sort of paper, but that was enough to be able to do 160. So, but you will still be able to be at significantly better than any person. Okay, in fact, don't even look at the other persons. Look at the person who's sitting in June. Okay, you will be significantly better provided you do this particular process than the person who's sitting here on the 1st of June. Okay, what transformation hoga? Is this clear? The only one rule that I'll tell you essentially is going to be put in volume. Okay, keep showing up. Right? Only thing that you've got to think is that what, in 3 महीने में मैं इतना लिखूंगा, ठीक है, without having that fear. ठीक है कि and this judgment. ठीक है, because जून का आंसर ऐसा है, this is not like how I would like my answers to be. ठीक है, some days are going to be great, some days are going to be frustrating, some tests are going to go well, some tests are going to go really bad. ठीक है, but 3 hours में मतलब उठना नहीं है. ठीक है, and that is that. ठीक है, and none of this will basically change the objective, and your only objective is basically to show up to the programs that you are signing up. ठीक है, keep attending, keep writing, keep improving, and judge yourself based on the kind of answer writing volume that you put in. The image that you see on this particular slide is from a student who simply kept writing. ठीक है, बहुत सारे ऐसे, I'll give you these examples of students who have done really well, who have good work ethic के साथ. ठीक है, if they are doing something in their life, if they've gotten to a particular place, there is no secret strategy here. There is no magical wand that basically said ki boom, become better. ठीक है, it is just consistent effort over time period. ठीक है, and that is what this program is essentially trying to build in you. ठीक है, so all you got to do first day में, I'm telling you all of these things because like mentally just be prepared. ठीक है, mentally just be prepared. All you got to do is stay in the process long enough. ठीक है, just survive till August 31st. Try not to be judgmental of yourself. Try not to be critical of yourself. ठीक है, all you got to do is write bad answers in June. ठीक है, write moderately better answers when it comes to July. ठीक है, and then let August do its, August is going to be, it's going to do its own charm. ठीक है, you get it, right? So give yourself enough volume. Ensure that, if you're competing with yourself or anybody else, tell yourself, all I want to do is have enough answer writing volume and improvement will come. Your improvement is not going to come day to day, okay, but over a period of time, it is going to compound, and that is enough for you to get 160. You get 160 plus, I am telling you, regardless of what happens, you are going out with an IAS or an IFS. Okay, and I will tell you this. If you look at some samples, in fact, I'm so proud of, the kind of effort that students put in. Okay, but if you look at some of these answers, it is not going to be the greatest. Okay, but that is not the point. Okay, but it is to sort of put in this volume until you get better and better, until you sort of consistently write better answers, better than average answers, good answers, great answers. Okay, you take a look at this, and this is something that I've already discussed before as well in some of my sessions. See, take a look at this. Okay. If you look at, the optional, so this is rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, rank 48, rank 45, I believe 45, right? So 45. Okay, so if you just count these, right? So you have, look at this, rank 2 and rank 3 is only 269 and 260, 267. Yahan pe it is 290, yahan pe the student is like 316. Optional mein, I will teach you how to score well. The number of students that I have who have scored more than 280 plus last year from just the first mains K attempt is much higher. Okay, you get the picture, right? So Anthro cannot be your limiting factor provided you just do justice to this particular program. So many students I have. Itne sare students I have, who have scored 135 plus in both the papers. Okay, first attempt mein. Okay, if you ask them, did it go well? Oh God, sir, I just, I wish I was better prepared. Ye tha, wo tha, all these kind of things. But just showed up and then wrote, 280 plus, 145 plus, 146 and one. But you get the picture, right? So itne sare students are there. Okay, so Anthro will not be a limiting factor. All you got, I will tell you for this for sure, कि मतलब ये पूरा ये लिखो, you are going to beat this score. You are going to beat this kind of score, 161, 145. In fact, this 145 was a mistake because and you guys can watch my interview with her, right? Paper 2 में she was feeling like really really bad. In fact, like she was very very positive, always with a smile. मतलब आप देख सकते हो हमारे interview. But only on that particular, in fact, even on her interview date. Okay, interview mein she's done quite well, but she was, on that particular date, she felt that, I was supposed to write lower Paleolithic, but I ended up writing upper Paleolithic, and that was a 20 marker. It was an easy question. Sir, aise karke, to I've never made this kind of mistake, even in all of these kind of mocks. Why did that happen? Maybe it is not meant to be. That's the only day in which I felt that thoda sa negativity set ho raha hai. Then I said, don't worry about it. Okay, ek question to hota hai. And then, क्या करें, ठीक है, but you will get service because you are a topper here. अगर आप यहाँ पे you have done really well, if you've gone through this entire program, ठीक है, आपका rank list में तो पक्का है, ठीक है, कम वॉट में रैंक लिस्ट में तो पक्का है, ठीक है, मे बी you could have been in the top 10, you might be in the double digits, you might be in the double digits, you might be in the double digits, but this might take you to the triple digits, but ऐसा नहीं हो सकता है कि you're not going to be in the rank list, ठीक है. So Anthro cannot be your limiting factor. We have so many of these students who are better than rank 2s and rank 3s, in the very first attempt, and it was not a perfect attempt, ठीक है. Many topics were basically done post prelims. Okay, so it is really really possible. I want to give you this confidence. Okay, so we are going to start with writing, and I hope that so how we'll do is I'll basically have a timer, and you start writing, and hopefully you are at a stage jahan pe aap wo within that particular time you will be able to write it. If not, also it is fine. Don't cut down writing of your answer. I will show you the questions. You take a look at the questions and you write the answer to these questions. Okay, in your portal you will see an email address. My email address for this particular batch is going to be given to you. I will ask you to give me an introduction, who you are, tell me something about yourself, your attempts and so on. Take along with it, I'll give एक email address को आपको भेजना है. You can send me all of your written assignments, okay, provided it is done on that same day. Okay, I will personally evaluate all of these and then give it to you if you're writing it on the same day. So that same night, I will try to go through and evaluate everybody's answer. Okay, let's say that you don't have the ability to write in 7 minutes, 11 minutes, 14 minutes. आपको लग रहा है half an hour. Okay, in fact, Priya and all used to write for like 1 hour. doesn't matter, she's an IAS officer, ठीक है. So in the beginning it is going to take you a little longer, I'm totally fine with it, but you send it to me by night time. So if you feel कि मतलब वो timing से मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगा, थोड़ा सा एक्स्ट्रा टाइम चाहिए मुझे, बट आई कैन डू इट एंड आई वांट टू डू इट, ठीक है, देन व्हाट यू डू इज यू बेसिकली टेक द क्वेश्चंस, लिख लो क्वेश्चंस, एंड देन यू पॉज हियर, ओके, या मतलब मतलब यू रीजॉइन, या मतलब यू कम बैक एंड वॉच द रिकॉर्डिंग फॉर द डिस्कशन ऑफ ऑल ऑफ दीज क्वेश्चंस, ठीक है, आफ्टर यू हैव रिटन, ठीक है. सो माई पॉइंट्स एंड क्या कर सकते हो, कैसे लिख सकते हो, एंड सो ऑन, दोज आर थिंग्स दैट यू कैन बेसिकली डू इवन लेटर, ठीक है. बट आज के लिए तो आई बेसिकली गिव यू एन आइडिया. सो दिस इज 20 marker, दिस इज a 15 marker, दिस इज 15 marker, दिस इज 10 marker, ठीक है. सो 15 marker should be written in how many minutes? This is going to be 14 minutes. Okay, this is going to be in how many minutes? This is going to be in 11 minutes. ठीक है, this is going to be 15 marker, this is going to be 11 minutes. And this is going to be 10 marker, so this is going to be 7 minutes. So anybody, it's fine, okay? So you can come back and watch, what I have to say about this. Right now, though, my first week, I just want you to start writing, okay? I don't want to give you that, thoda sa discomfort mein to rakhna hai. That is my job, it is my duty, but I just want you to start writing, okay? So that is that. So if you want to log out now and want to write these kind of questions with whatever time that you can, okay, starting may you might be a little difficult, then you can come back and watch what I have to say about it, okay? The first question was 14 minutes, so I'll just keep 14 minutes, and right after 14 minutes I will discuss. But you should be able to see the question as well, no? You can see this here. Please confirm you can see it. I'll just push this up. First wala question is going to be critically evaluate different types of social stratification with suitable example. ठीक है, so social stratification कितने type के आपको you are able to sort of talk about, okay? And when you say कि evaluate, so just try to provide, a good explanation. We'll do the job of telling कि मतलब how to basically look at social stratification from which point of view, and is there any sort of negatives to it, or if there are any sort of limitations to it, that also you can basically include. And by the way, in all of these sessions, what we are going to be writing is we are going to be writing PYQs or PY themes. Okay. I'll try to cover all aspects of the syllabus as well, not only the PYQs. I'll cover all PY themes. Okay. And elements of the syllabus that are being asked in today's time period that have not been asked in the past. Okay. All of these things we will try to do. This, by the way, it should be 4 pages. Four pages, and try to keep 15 lines per page. Try to keep 15 lines per page. Fairly easy. Just try to fill out 4 pages. If you can fill out 4 pages, very good. Just develop the ability to write 4 pages. More than sufficient for now. At this point, okay, right. So we'll discuss the answer in another 5.5 minutes. Today only 4 questions, but generally I'll try to scale it up to 5, 6 once you guys become a little comfortable in writing. Another 3.5 minutes. Last 2 minutes. Last 30 seconds before I show you the slide where I tell you what you could have written. So at this point, any which way you should be trying to conclude. If you're doing it in speed, according to the time limit, this is a point jahan pe any which way you have to start concluding. That scared me a little bit. Okay. Anyway, let's come back here. Okay. So in case you have written your very first answer, and even if you've not been able to do in these 14 minutes, I'm hoping that you have tried writing it and then you're watching this. Again, I want to say this. In case you have not written it, take your time, write it ek bar, and then come and listen to this. Okay. It'll make you feel a lot better that, you were not that off. Okay. You had a lot of relevant things. Yeah, sometimes it is like, oh, okay, maybe I was in this line. Oh, maybe I'm thinking in the right line. Right, all those things will be there. So overall, for this particular question, what was the question? The question is evaluate or critically evaluate different types of social stratification with suitable examples. Okay? So first, understand the demand of this particular question. Okay? So, the question is basically saying the keyword yahan pe it is to critically evaluate. Okay? So you see this first thing which is about critically evaluate. Okay, so there is critically evaluate. Critically evaluate का मतलब ये है कि this means don't just describe. ठीक है? So the whole idea is that you're not just describing the types. You must be able to show कि उसका strengths क्या है, उसका limitations क्या है, some kind of comparison here. Okay, so you're going to have, let's say there is caste का stratification. ठीक है? Caste का stratification is basically what? It is a closed system. Your status is essentially determined by birth itself. Okay, you cannot change it, right? Examples are going to be the Varna model, Varna Jati wala model that is there. Louis Dumont, he basically says caste is based on what is it? The whole idea is basically hierarchy, the social stratification that is based on the purity and pollution. Higher purity, lower down pollution. One advantage of looking at society being socially stratified in this particular manner is that it, or whatever, the purpose is, it is basically providing social order, okay, and some kind of occupational stability. Like Gandhi also used to say, right? So you need like 4 different sort of, divisions of labor is basically kind of important. Okay. Occupational continuity रहता है यहाँ पे. At the same time, try to bring in some sort of limitation here. It created discrimination, and even if you need 4 different sort of like divisions of labor, you should still have that option to decide whether you want to do this or this or this or this. Okay? If you have something like this, which is a closed model, then it is going to be restricted mobility. Okay? Then the next one is going to be, let's say caste है तो class होगा. Class is going to be an open system. Okay? Class is more of an open system. Your position basically depends on wealth, and it depends on your education, it depends on your occupation, it depends on whatever kind of achievement that you will have. Okay? What could be the examples of class system? You have upper classes, you have middle classes, you have working classes, and so on. Karl Marx, he focused on the bourgeois and the proletariat. Okay? BOUR, okay? GEOISIE, and the proletariat. Okay? And the proletariat. Iska one advantage is basically what? If it's an open system, it is still allowing for social mobility. What could be a criticism? Economic inequality can still become extremely severe, sometimes even more than the closed systems. Right? Okay, and that. Another one is kind of estate-based stratification. Estate-based stratification or the feudal stratification jo hai, it was very much prevalent across medieval Europe. Okay, across Europe in medieval time period. Society was basically divided into what all groups? You have the nobility and the clergy, and then eventually, you have the commoners at the bottom. So that's basically how it was. And the rights for each of these groups were also unequal. Max Weber here basically helps you understand this through the concepts of status and power. Okay? So class, status, power, right? So if you remember. Okay? That is that. You have slavery. Okay? Slavery is the most extreme form. Okay? People are basically treated like poverty. Okay? Sorry, property. Right? What is the best example for slavery? What is the example for slavery? The example for slavery is going to be, the classic example for slavery is basically, the slavery has existed during different periods, but one example that you can go with is that plantation slavery that was there in the US. Okay? So you have Melvin Tillman, right? So he basically viewed it as the most rigid inequality system that existed. Okay? No freedom, no mobility. Okay? You are basically owned by another person. So generally, if you have these kind of questions, how do you address this question? Ensure that you have a very simple structure. Okay? So in the introduction, you should define what is social stratification. Okay? Or, mention some scholars, right? Melvin Tillman, you want Ogburn, Nimcoff, whatever it is. Then you basically go to your body. Okay? Heading wise, aap isko break karo. Okay, start with class, then go to, I think we started with caste, then you go to class, then you go to estate, you go to slavery. Okay, I think 3 were asked. Okay, or different types. Okay, so that is that. Then you basically add your slavery as well. And under each of these things, just write what is. So, try to keep the same approach for each of these and the same space for each of these. So, if I'm basically going to take caste, I'm going to write the meaning here. I'm going to write the example here. I'm going to basically add a scholarly perspective here. I'm going to write 1 strength here. I'm going to write 1 limitation here. Okay, rather than writing 3 limitations and 3 strengths here, second one mein 2 and 2, third one mein 1 and 1, and last one mein uske liye space nahi hai. Okay, that is not good structuring. Okay, so then you could basically, even if you still have space, and because it's a long answer, you might even have a little bit of a space to have some kind of a comparison between caste and class, or maybe wahin pe aap include kar sakte ho. Okay, so when you do this, this is how you are evaluating, critically evaluating. Okay, conclusion mein aap kya karoge? Try to bring that entire discussion that you had regarding different types, just try to bring it to, maybe you can bring it to a contemporary. You could actually try to bring it to the present or the contemporary sort of angle. आप कुछ लेके आ सकते हो, या maybe you can basically again hit upon the real essence of it. ठीक है? You could also say that some kind of like you basically just try to sum it up. You can basically say ki some kind of observation you could add. For example, you could say that in fact in many societies today you could see more than one being existing in that particular society. ठीक है. So overall conclude करो कि caste है, class है, whatever it is, social stratification could be birth, wealth, status, ownership and so on. This is going to be your class वाला. ठीक है, and whatever. ठीक है. So basically, in your conclusion, as I told you, right? So there are few approaches that you can basically do. Just mention that, either write the main essence of this idea that you have discussed. Second thing is that you can basically summarize the main points of what you have done. ठीक है, एक आप कर सकते हो, you bring in a contemporary angle of what you have discussed. All of these things, any of these things, if you are able to do, ठीक है, but try to ensure that it is 4 to 5 lines minimum. ठीक है, 4 to 5 lines minimum. That has to be done. ठीक है, so write that important takeaway and conclude with at least 4 to 5 lines. Here, basically, there might be different sort of forms of social stratification and they differ, okay, but all stratification systems jo hai, it is still emphasizing the same thing, which is unequal access when it comes to power or prestige or resources and so on. Okay, you can even link it to paper 2. Okay, Andre Betel, right? So you have scholars like those. They basically say, कि caste है या class है या power है, all of those things basically overlap in actuality. ठीक है, in realistic terms अगर आप देखोगे, in real society में अगर आप देखोगे, ठीक है, caste है, class है, power है, all those kind of differentials जो है, they actually overlap rather than exist, as one in our society, one in another society. India में अगर आप देखोगे, you cannot say that caste stratification exists, but class does not exist. ठीक है, so many different ways to sort of skin the cat. Okay, so I will do one thing and let me just take a look at the time. I have less amount of time. So this requires another 11, 22, 22 plus 7. That is going to be, okay, so I need 30 minutes. So we'll do one thing. Okay, you can pause here. Okay, you take down these questions and you write these questions के answers. Okay, and then once you're done, ठीक है, please go through that email address, वहाँ पे होने चाहिए, ठीक है, by end of day, and send it to me. And once you have actually written it from your end, ठीक है, then you come back and watch the rest of this recording. For the next 30-35 minutes that you have, or I have, ठीक है, let me just record this and I will take a look at your answers. Everything that you write on that same day, I will just go through and evaluate it. ठीक है, so no issues at all. Okay, so you go back and write and then come back and watch. So I'm assuming that, you're coming back and watching this. Okay, the next question is going to be, discuss the historical and cultural context that led to superseding, of this ethnocentrism with cultural relativism. So ethnocentrism gaya or cultural relativism aaya. So can you please tell me the historical and cultural context here? Okay. पहले तो what is the demand of this particular question? ठीक है, the question looks like, don't just मतलब break it down into its constituents की ethnocentrism and cultural relativism का question है, ठीक है. The question is not necessarily asking you what is ethnocentrism. Okay, that should not be the main emphasis here. The question is asking, why did anthropology move from ethnocentrism, which was what we had in classical evolutionism, why did it move to cultural relativism? Okay, why did anthropology basically move from EC to CR? So our answer, or the main emphasis in our answer, should basically be addressing this. Okay, it should follow the same flow. Okay, from EC to CR. Pehle to historical context. So what exactly is the historical context? Okay, the fathers of our field. Okay, the parents of our field. Initially, many Europeans, they believed that their culture was the best. It was the most advanced, and everybody else basically had some form of primitive, kind of cultures in comparison to your, industrial revolution wala Europe. In fact, this mindset came because of industrial revolution. This mindset came because, they were colonial powers and they were, finally Europe was ahead in something, right? And from your unilinear evolutionism, meaning your beginning of anthropology. Okay, this context is very, very important. Okay, so in the initial periods of anthropology, all societies, the only anthropological contributions that were being made, okay, were essentially studying so many different kind of societies, but just to be ranked all the way, between your savagery to barbarism, and then finally civilization. And civilization, it is only Europe, it is only their society. Okay, so every anthropologist was just assuming that Europe was at the top. Let's try to figure out who is, backward and how far backward. Okay, so you have W.G. Sumner, right? So he basically called this tendency to be ethnocentrism. Okay, historical context. But gradually, anthropologists started doing more fieldwork. Fieldwork started becoming a little more part of this particular field. And then they realized, that these tribal societies that we are studying and the non-European societies that we are studying are not necessarily backward. Okay, they were simply different. Understand? Not backward, but different. In fact, we say, we should have sustainable development. Who has sustainable development? Us, or let's say, some tribal societies. We say the Zen way of life. Be content with whatever we have. Is it us or is it them? Live in the present. Is it us or is it them? You understand, no? ठीक है, so this is basically the historical context. They are not backward but they are different. Cultural context क्या है? Because historical and cultural, right? So ये हो गया. So you have addressed this part. Okay, let's talk about the cultural context. What could be the cultural context? See, then came the recognition of cultural diversity because of this fieldwork. Okay, anthropologists then found that every culture basically has its own logic. So many different kinds of societies, but it kind of makes sense. Okay, you have fraternal polyandry because so and so kind of thing. Okay, if you're a Tibetan kind of society, that means land ka issue hai and so on. If you're let's say a Toda society, you have cultural diversity, fraternal polyandry. Okay, primarily because the population differences. Okay, your sex ratio ka issue hai. Female infanticide was practiced. So it makes sense. Okay, something that looks strange to us may be perfectly meaningful to the people who are practicing that culture. Okay, so take the Kula exchange for example. Okay, an outsider might think that it is extremely irrational. Why would you, go into the Pacific Ocean, risk your life and limb just to exchange what? Okay, red shell necklace, okay, armbands, and so on. With the Solova and Mwali and those kind of things. But for the Trobriand Islanders, their culture mein, it basically makes a lot of sense. It creates prestige, it creates alliances, it creates social relations. It basically sort of allows them to survive. Okay, so this led to the idea that culture jo hai, in case you're studying it in anthropology, it should be studied in its own context and not in a relative, in a ranking sense. Okay, and this view is basically that emic view. You understand? So now we are basically moving from the emic view. Within this, think about the anthropological contributions. That becomes very important, right? Because that is that's the whole point of this particular question. Okay? The important part here is that you bring in Franz Boas, who essentially said that every culture must be understood through its own history. Okay? Historical particularism, right? Their own environment, right? Particularly unke culture mein what exactly is happening. Okay? That is your Franz Boas. Franz Boas makes a very big contribution in terms of not introducing this cultural relativism as a term, but in terms of popularizing it within anthropology. Okay, anthropology ka biggest contribution essentially is, cultural relativism in the way you study different societies. Okay, Malinowski said what? Study culture from the natives' point of view. Okay, that is similar, emic point of view or, but he put it as natives' point of view se aap dekhiye. Okay, Margaret Mead basically had her Samoan studies. Okay, she showed that behavior jo hai, it is very culturally shaped in her comparisons. I'm not going to go into this. Geertz also basically talks about these kind of things, but he's saying ki look at it from wo onion jo hai, multiple layers ko peel karke dekhoge, you get a better idea. He calls it as not thin description, but it is going to be your thick description. Okay, meaning understand the meanings that the people basically attach to their world, their worldview, their actions, their culture. Okay. Then you could actually bring in, why is it significant? How does that basically change things? Okay? As a result of this historical cultural context of moving to cultural relativism, looking at it from this particular point of view, Clifford Geertz, Samoan studies, Franz Boas, Malinowski, right? Anthropology basically has stopped ranking cultures. Okay? And they have started finally understanding cultures. Ranking cultures, we have moved to your understanding of cultures. So meaning, comparison jo hai, we do it from different point of view, not from a hierarchy point of view. Hierarchy has basically disappeared. From the anthropologist ka psyche, hierarchy is basically something that has disappeared. Hierarchy exists in society, but you are not basically studying different kind of societies to rank it in your way. Understood, na? So very easy structure. Addressing the demand of the question becomes important. Intro karo, talk about the historical context. There has to be a separate component, historical context. Write about the cultural context that we just discussed. Write about the anthropological contributions, wherein you're able to show ki EC se CR tak hum kaise ja rahe hain. Those contributions that basically show us that we've actually moved to CR. Then you bring in the aspect of significance, right? Ranking cultures. Say hum kahan ja rahe hain? From ranking cultures, we are essentially going to we are going to understanding of cultures in the truest sense. So just follow the wording of the question, and let that question basically take you to what you have to address. The examiner will immediately see that you have addressed the demand of the question and not what you know. They know that you are trying to address the demand of what they are asking rather than what you know. Is this clear? So conclusion mein, again, the shift from ethnocentrism to cultural relativism, agar aap dekhoge, it basically showing that transformation. It is showing the transformation of anthropology from a discipline that often judged cultures because it studies cultures to one that is trying to seek. It is basically seeking to understand cultures on their own terms. ठीक है, एंड दिस इज वाई कल्चरल रिलेटिविज्म एक्चुअली बिकेम द मेथोडोलॉजिकल फाउंडेशन ऑफ योर मॉडर्न एंथ्रोपोलॉजी. ठीक है, एटलीस्ट 4 to 5 लाइन्स तो मिनिमम होनी चाहिए. Okay, so this is how you would approach this particular question, and hopefully you've done that. ठीक है. Next question is going to be discuss the different forms of preferential marriage with suitable examples from tribal societies in India. Okay, so let's take a look at this question. First, again, let's try to understand what is the demand of this particular question. UPSC is not asking you what are the different types of marriage. It is specifically taking you to, hey, preferential marriages. Okay, it's asking for preferential marriages, meaning that certain relatives are going to be preferred marriageable partners. Okay, और marriage के लिए preferred partners हैं ये. Why? Because they help you in many ways, socially, economically, and so on. So, for example, better alliances, maybe for property reasons, economic reasons होंगे, kinship ties को maintain करने के लिए, and so on. So, there are reasons for it. So, what are the preferential marriages? You have seen this. Parallel cousin marriage, पहला वाला. ठीक है? So, if you look at the first diagram here, and the diagram should be neat, it should be boxed, it should be labeled. It essentially is marriage between children of two brothers getting married or children of two sisters getting married. And it's mostly common, very common amongst those societies that are practicing, मतलब Islamic societies में, many Islamic societies, this is very, very common. Okay, and the tribes, for example, the Bhils of Western India who are, who have, मतलब who follow Islam, or if you look at your Gujars of your Jammu Kashmir, your Bakarwals of your Jammu Kashmir, if you look at your Lakshadweep Islands, ठीक है, वहाँ पे also you basically see Islamic tribes, right? So definitely they're going to be following that, and the logic is also there, ठीक है. So meaning, you want to keep your property within the family. अगर आपका sheep है या movable property है, immovable property है, basically it stays within the family, it stays within close relatives. Keep the close relatives connected for much longer, social reasons. Then another one is going to be your cross cousin marriage. Cross cousin का marriage क्या है? Again, look at it from the second diagram. What you see here, you basically have marriage between children of a brother and a sister. ठीक है, मतलब इनका opposite sex होने चाहिए. And this is actually the most important one so far as anthropology is concerned, because it is found in many societies, tribal societies में. Gonds में ये है, Oraons में ये है, Todas में ये है, Kadars में ये है. ठीक है, so you have this amongst many different kind of societies. In fact, Claude Levi-Strauss, loved this particular example. Why so? ठीक है, because marriage जो है, again, his whole idea is that, you have alliances, right? So alliance theory के main things. So this is basically creating alliances between different lineages. ठीक है? So it is not just between the husband and the wife. Okay? It is between two different kind of lineages and so on. ठीक है, this is basically linked to your alliance theory as well. मतलब आप देख सकते हो, you can connect also. And next one you can basically take a look at is going to be your uncle-niece marriage. Again, neatly avunculate marriages basically. So here a maternal uncle essentially marries his niece. Okay, so you have different tribes that actually follow it. Gadabas of your Andhra Pradesh में भी है, and they also are there in Odisha. ठीक है, they basically practice this. So many different sort of tribes practices. South Indian tribes also have it. Maman Kalyanam they call it. ठीक है, Maman Kalyanam and different versions of it. Okay, in fact, many के लिए this might look strange, ठीक है, but remember in anthropology, you're trying to understand कि उनके कल्चरल कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आपको देखना पड़ेगा. ठीक है, सो इट बेसिकली अगेन हैज, अगर सोशली एंड इकोनॉमिकली आप डिराइव करके देखोगे, ठीक है, विच वे इज द मनी गोइंग और द डाउरी गोइंग और द ब्राइड प्राइस गोइंग, ठीक है, यू विल अंडरस्टैंड प्रॉपर्टी रिटेंशन ऑलमोस्ट ऑल्टरनेटिंग, ठीक है, एंड ऑल्सो लाइक फैमिली कंटिन्यूटी एंड सो ऑन. सो देयर आर सोशल एंगल्स, इकोनॉमिक एंगल्स एंड सो ऑन. देन यू हैव सोरोरेट. ठीक है, sororate marriages, you guys know what that is. A man is basically marrying the sister of his deceased wife. So wife is dead, so he marries the sister. ठीक है, if you look at this, again, this is very common in many tribal societies, Mundas में, Santals में, Oraons में, and so on. ठीक है, traditional societies में, it used to be a lot more common. In fact, if you look at this, why would you have this? ठीक है, let's say that they have a child, ठीक है, any other soteli ma, okay, her own sister could be a better soteli ma than any other kind of soteli ma. Similarly, you also have economic angles here. Okay, so if a marriage basically breaks and the person has to marry somebody else, okay, so the bride price has to be returned. So there are many different angles here, right? So, and also from this particular child ka perspective, a familiar relative as the mother ka character. Then you have levirate. Okay, so similar to this, but it is almost like a mirror image. A widow basically marries her deceased husband's brother. ठीक है, अगेन भील्स में है, खासा में है, टोडास में है एंड सो ऑन. यहाँ पे द पर्पस इज बेसिकली व्हाट, लाइक द विडो रिक्वायर्स सम काइंड ऑफ प्रोटेक्शन उसके लिए, लिनिएज के कंटिन्यूटी के लिए, ठीक है, रिटेंशन ऑफ दैट ब्राइड वेल्थ और द ब्राइड प्राइस उसके लिए. इज दिस क्लियर? सो अंडरस्टैंड दीज काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स, राइट? सो मतलब दिस इज द कोर डिमांड. In terms of answer writing tip, ठीक है, don't write only the definitions for each of these things. Try to keep it exactly the same. ठीक है, mention की there has to be an explanation. Who is marrying whom has to be explained here, followed by a diagram. A kinship chart has to be explained here. Provide an example and provide the purpose, whether it's social या economic. ठीक है, one line each. ठीक है, this will basically give your answer a little bit of an anthropological flavor. Good structure, equal sort of space for each of these things will make it pretty good. ठीक है, and if possible try to, as I said, Levi Strauss, you can bring some of those kind of angles as well, but उसको force feed मत करना. ठीक है, those are just additions. It should not basically break your structure. Okay, but you can find these, if you can do this in that kind of manner, जहाँ पे every one of these things is equal, and for each of these things you have 4 or 5 equal for each and every one of these things, that will automatically upgrade your answer. ठीक है, overall conclusion क्या है? Preferential marriages जो है, they are not just random marriage customs. ठीक है, they are proper kinship strategies that are followed by these societies. ठीक है, it is it has a purpose. ठीक है, so far as alliance are concerned, inheritance is concerned, social solidarity is concerned, continuity of the family and lineage is concerned, and so on. ठीक है, and that's exactly what UPSC wants you to highlight, in the conclusion. ठीक है, it has a purpose. The preference has a purpose. Okay, then what about cultural lag? ठीक है, cultural lag अगर आप देखोगे, what is cultural lag? So this is basically a 10 marker. ठीक है, so 10 marker. Now cultural lag is not something that was in the syllabus, but it's a sociology का topic, and these days एक sociology का एक 10 marker तो वो दे रहे हैं आपको, some technical terms which you might not know, but it is, so far as what we have seen, is that they are not giving you something जो आपको समझ में नहीं आ रहा है. ठीक है, you can still understand what is cultural and what is lag. मतलब the meaning is kind of visible. Maybe the theoretical study you have not done. ठीक है, so in case you see cultural lag, how do you basically handle this here? ठीक है, Ogburn basically said that culture essentially has 2 parts. एक है आपका मटेरियल कल्चर, एक है आपका नॉन मटेरियल कल्चर. मटेरियल कल्चर में क्या आता है? इट इज़ योर टेक्नोलॉजी, इट इज़ योर मशीन्स, इट इज़ योर मोबाइल फोन्स, इट इज़ योर रोड्स, मतलब दीज काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. नॉन मटेरियल कल्चर्स क्या है? कल्चरल एलिमेंट्स, वैल्यूज, लॉज, कस्टम्स. ठीक है, आपका KBMLC, नॉलेज, बिलीफ, आर्ट्स, मॉरल्स, लॉज, कस्टम्स, मॉरल्स, ऑल दीज काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स, एथिक्स, बिलीफ्स, राइट्स, ऑल ऑफ दीज. सो हिज मेन आर्ग्यूमेंट इज वेरी सिंपल. मटेरियल कल्चर जो है, इट हैज़ द एबिलिटी टू चेंज मच क्विकर. ठीक है, आई कैन अपग्रेड माई फोन. Okay, I can get a Chinese phone, I can get a Korean phone, I can get a Japanese phone, I can get an American phone. ठीक है, but non-material culture जो है, it changes much slower. Okay, it changes much slower. So material culture can basically sort of like, it can happen much quicker, right? My phone can basically be upgraded much quicker. ठीक है, but what I consume through my phone is not going to change that quick. For example, my mother के लिए, I have basically bought her a Chinese phone. But that does not mean that now she's going to be watching Chinese TV shows and Chinese movies or Chinese songs. ठीक है, जो वो consume कर रहे थे, वही वो consume कर रहे हैं. You understand this, ना? So the gap between the quick transformation in the the material culture changing faster and the non-material culture basically changing slower, ठीक है, उन दोनों का gap is basically what we call as your cultural lag. You understand? It is your cultural lag. इसका key features क्या होंगे? Generally for these kind of questions, how would you answer these? ठीक है, you first talk about, what could be the features, right? एक बार explain करो कि वो क्या है, and then you write about its characteristics या features. The first feature is basically, it is uneven cultural change. वही तो है lag. ठीक है, not everything is going to basically change at the same speed. ठीक है, आजकल भी, for example, I feel like I'm being left behind. I have a degree, from, a top 10 US university. It was a great thing. I really felt कि मतलब technologically speaking, I'm at the cutting edge. And suddenly now, after, some time, now I feel कि मतलब I'm being left behind. ठीक है, this AI has basically come in and I've not been able to keep up. ठीक है, technology is basically growing very, very fast. ठीक है, our entire thing during my time was who was very good at coding. I was good at coding. I was but आजकल तो मतलब coding is not even a skill set that is important. You understand ना? So there are things that are basically growing very, very fast. But things around it, उसके इर्द गिर्द जो है, ठीक है, those things don't really keep pace with it. For example, the job market in India, ठीक है, or the Indian companies, or the laws, or the ethical sort of rules, they are still catching up. ठीक है, second feature is going to be, it is going to be social maladjustment. Social maladjustment का मतलब ये है कि people basically become confused during the periods of this rapid change. ठीक है, it's like I'm it's like a deer, in front of those headlights. ठीक है, so मतलब what just is happening. ठीक है, suddenly something huge is taking place and I don't know exactly how to adjust with this thing. So society basically needs, or the people in the society basically need time to adjust to whatever new sort of material culture का change हो रहा है. Now when I say material culture का change, you don't just think in terms of like phones and things like this. Of course that is part of it. Sociology basically studies those. But anthropological sense में अगर आप देखोगे, you think in terms of कि, you know, if I'm a tribal member and I'm being moved, you know, let's say a tribal community है, there is a dam that has to be built here and you're being displaced by this dam. ठीक है, suddenly, you know, they are getting roads, suddenly there is schools, suddenly there is markets, suddenly there is mobile phones. You understand, na? But their traditional beliefs and their traditional institutions, they cannot change overnight. Everything around us is basically changing. But I am basically, you know, I am completely driven by LP Vidyarthi, what he would, you know, explain as nature, man, spirit ka complex. ठीक है, you know, I had a forest here. What happened to those trees? ठीक है, I used to have, you know, my huts here. What happened to those? ठीक है, यहाँ पे there used to be a stream. Now this is like a whole sort of place is flooded. ठीक है, everything is getting disrupted. You understand, na? This is a classic example of applying a sociology ka ek topic, you know, with an anthropological context. Classic example of cultural lag. That is why the concept of cultural lag can be useful to study things like modernization, industrialization, urbanization. ठीक है, so far as tribes are concerned. Tribal के लिए we have a whole topic that is there, right? ठीक है, change in family because of industrialization, urbanization, and modernization, or even the tribals and tribal development में, this is an important sort of concept. ठीक है, you get the picture, right? So if you understand what exactly it is, just to get an idea, उसके बाद try to take it back to your syllabus and then try to apply this and show them that you're applying this. Okay, show them that you're trying to apply this. Okay, whenever you have a theoretical kind of a concept, also try to see if you can provide criticism of it or limitations of it. So one limitation could be that, you know, you have material culture, non-material culture. ठीक है, you know, you're saying that they are, you know, वहाँ पे one basically changes faster than the other. Is that clear? But they're often connected, na? ठीक है, you take the smartphone. Okay, let's say that smartphone. ठीक है, it basically changed technology, but it also quickly changed communication. ठीक है, communication patterns. It changed your relationships. It changed your social values and so on. ठीक है, so the gap is not necessarily always very very clear. ठीक है, एक change होता है तो मतलब दूसरा वाला completely it basically goes hand in hand. Okay, so sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. ठीक है, so मतलब universalize हम नहीं कर पाएंगे. Generally for 10 markers, always remember introduction, conclusion. But along with this thing also, let's say that you understand this particular concept, try to break them down into multiple headings. ठीक है, मल्टीपल डायमेंशंस. फॉर एग्जांपल कल्चरल लैग द कॉन्सेप्ट लिखो. ठीक है, उसको एक्सप्लेन कर लिया आपने. ठीक है, इन द वे दैट आई एक्सप्लेन टू यू नाउ, एटलीस्ट कंसेप्चुअली यू शुड बी एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस. ठीक है, देन यू राइट अबाउट द फीचर्स ऑफ इट और द कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स ऑफ इट. ठीक है, देन ये हो गया, दिस इज द सेकंड पार्ट इन द बॉडी. थर्ड पार्ट यू ट्राई टू ब्रिंग इन वन एंथ्रोपोलॉजिकल एग्जांपल. इवन इफ वन में आप करोगे, बट यू हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड, यू नो, हाउ दिस इज रेलेवेंट टू आवर सिलेबस एंड हाउ दिस कैन हेल्प यू अंडरस्टैंड वन पर्टिकुलर एस्पेक्ट ऑफ योर सिलेबस, यू हैव स्टिल डन अ वेरी गुड जॉब. ठीक है, उसके बाद द फोर्थ एलिमेंट कैन बी द लिमिटेशन और द क्रिटिसिज्म, और दैट इट इज नॉट यूनिवर्सली एप्लीकेबल. जनरली फॉर मोस्ट थियरी द लिमिटेशन, एक लिमिटेशन यही होगा कि वो यूनिवर्सली एप्लीकेबल नहीं होगा. फाइंड वन एरिया जहां पे इट इज नॉट यूनिवर्सली एप्लीकेबल, वो भी ठीक है. ओके, दे विल स्टिल अप्रिशिएट द फैक्ट दैट, यू नो, यू अंडरस्टैंड कि मतलब जनरली फॉर मोस्ट ऑफ दीज थियरीज क्या लिमिटेशन होते हैं. ठीक है, एंड लास्टली यू ट्राई टू गो विद द कंक्लूजन. इफ यू कैन डू दिस, यू नो, दिस स्ट्रक्चर इज बेसिकली गुड इनफ फॉर अ वेरी वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग आंसर. कंक्लूड कैसे करोगे? कल्चरल लैग बेसिकली it's reminding us that social change जो है, it is always not smooth, and sociology, anthropology basically tries to study it. Sometimes material culture, technology, all of those things basically move too fast. ठीक है, but your values, KBA, MLC, institutions, beliefs, ठीक है, nature, man, spirit complex, they often take more time to adjust. ठीक है, that is Ogburn's main idea. ठीक है, that time to adjust is a time period जहाँ पे people will struggle. ठीक है, for the tribals, because of industrialization, urbanization, displacement, ठीक है, that time period is not a year, it is not a few months, it is not a few weeks, it is generations. ठीक है, so it's highly relevant for understanding, you know, issues like development and social change, and especially tribal transformation related topics in from that particular perspective. use कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, उतना use नहीं होता है, but आप use कर सकते हैं, आपको दिखाना है. Understood? Okay, so that's it for today. Overall, what I would say is, if you just today ka only targets that you would have to deliver on is just one thing, and that one thing is going to be that you just try to see that, you know, you've been able to sort of fill out the pages using some ideas. Okay, even if the ideas are not necessarily right, totally fine. ठीक है, but you know, you will still feel the confidence कि मतलब कुछ ना कुछ तो लिख सकते. ठीक है, I can write, I can craft, ठीक है, but of course I have to refine a lot of things. Sometimes structurally also I basically had to work on certain kind of thing, or maybe some kind of examples I need to. Sometimes maybe the content was insufficient. ठीक है, cultural lag मुझे याद नहीं है कि कैसा है, or maybe I analyzed it in a different manner. It is fine. ठीक है, but you understood ना? ठीक है, I don't as see if anybody basically writes perfect answer for this and then sends it to me, मुझे पता है कि that is not your answer. ठीक है, कुछ Google करके आप लिख रहे हो. ठीक है, it does not help you. ठीक है, if I basically show you the answers that Priya used to send me in the beginning, ठीक है, मतलब those are not great answers at all. ठीक है, but it's her answers. It is her mind actually working. So right at this particular point, all you got to do is you write your thoughts. ठीक है, परफेक्ट करना इज नॉट व्हाट वी वांट. ठीक है, परफेक्शन हम करेंगे, यू विल रीच दैट पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट अ लॉट लेटर, बट राइट योर आंसर्स, डेवलप योर एबिलिटी टू थिंक. ठीक है, डेवलप योर एबिलिटी टू स्ट्रक्चर. ठीक है, इवेंचुअली व्हेन यू स्टार्ट थिंकिंग, योर इंट्रोडक्शन में कैन आई जस्ट कम आउट विद अ सेंटेंस लाइक दिस, इफ यू जस्ट राइट दैट सेंटेंस और थिंक अबाउट दैट पर्टिकुलर सेंटेंस, इट विल ऑटोमेटिकली बी अ 4 to 5 लाइन का इंट्रोडक्शन. इट विल सेम थिंग फॉर योर कंक्लूजन. Right? So you understand now, when you start thinking itself, you will start structuring it like this. You will start thinking, what is the demand of this particular question? ये सब आपको automatically आएगा. This increases your speed, this increases your thing. Because जो आपको final day में जाके वहाँ पे लिखना है ना, ठीक है, that is going to be a question that you're writing for the very first time. Same concept from your syllabus. Most of it. ठीक है, at least 60% of it is going to be the same concepts that you have written before here. ठीक है, but it is going to be a different demand. सोशल स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन जो है, मतलब एक छोटा सा टॉपिक लग रहा है ना, ठीक है, बट देयर आर सो मेनी क्वेश्चन दैट कैन कम फ्रॉम इट. इट्स अ होल सब्जेक्ट, इट्स अ होल सेमेस्टर के लिए हम स्टडी करते हैं द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ सोशल स्ट्रैटिफिकेशन. ठीक है, सो इट इज गोइंग टू बी डिफरेंट, बट यू हैव द एबिलिटी टू लुक एट द पर्टिकुलर क्वेश्चन एंड डिराइव एन आंसर आउट ऑफ इट बाय लुकिंग एट व्हाट दे आर आस्किंग, trying to fit it in, okay, and trying to construct, trying to craft. Eventually, you are going to have a better answer on D-Day, August 10 day, rather than anybody else who's like trying to just produce some kind of an answer and mug it up. ठीक है, वहाँ पे the answer is going to be different. It depends on what specific question is being asked. ठीक है, so that's all I have for today. ठीक है, those of you who have written it, you can please share it to me and it will be in my email. It will be in your portal and I'll take a look at it. If you submit the answers on the same day in which we are having this particular session, I'll evaluate it and then give it to you and give you your feedback as well. Okay, and that's it for today. Okay, chalo, take care, bye bye.